Hello and welcome to Paper Plays Julie K.
Welcome, crafty friends, and thank you so much for stopping by to check out my video and to see what I've been up to. And today I have a project share to share with you, and this is for a swap that I'm going to be involved in. My partner is Wendy, and I'm not sure if she has a YouTube channel or not. If I do find out that she does, I will link that below in my description box, along with some other links that I'm going to share with you. And in this swap, we were to decorate or alter a file folder and then put a couple little goodies inside of it. And so my plan for this file folder is I am going to wrap it in this beautiful little like table covering that I found. And then I did create this little flower that I'm going to attach on the outside of it. And I just wanted to share that with you guys with the tassel on it. And so I did add seam binding. I just wanted to show you guys the back. So if you ever wanted to create something like this, you could. So many of us use like little felt circles to do our bases for our flowers. And then so what I did on this one is I went ahead and attached a felt piece over the top of it, but I didn't glue it in the middle so that you can slide a ribbon or a piece of lace underneath there. So then it's easy to attach it to whatever you're wrapping around. But then the recipient can also use this flower for something else because she can take out the seam binding. She could use the seam binding on something else. And she could also glue the flower onto something else. And then the other added thing that I did on this one too, before I glued down this overlay piece of felt, is I did put a little like ribbon under there. I hooked it so that I could add the tassel, that she can take the tassel off too. So the tassel isn't permanent on the little flower here. And then if she wanted to use the flower, but she didn't want this hanging down for something else, she could just snip that off. But I like to be able to make my pieces versatile. So again, she can use these if she wants for something else, or use this as an ornament or hang it on something else. And so here's the actual tassel that I created. And I did do it on a wooden spool. You can see above it I have a couple layers of some beads from my stash. There's a doily up here and a doily down here. The paper that you see behind there is from Graphic 45, which is also the paper collection I used on my altered file folder. I did use a piece of a necklace that I cut apart. The little bling here, I think that's so gorgeous. And I was trying to kind of make it match the colors of the image on this altered file folder. I was trying to do my best with that. And then down here you can see the rest of the tassel that I created. I have so many fun laces and trims. A lot of the laces and trims I used in here are a lot of these little pieces of lace I've gotten from some of my crafty swap partners lately, and then also in the past I got some from Tammy and from Gisela, and also some from Amy Love in the past. Oftentimes other people will tie their packages with laces, and so some of these were some of those laces. And then I went ahead and also added just some basic ribbon, also some off-white and kind of that peachy pink color to match the Graphic 45 paper that I was using. So that is my little tassel I'm going to include as one of my items for my swap partner. And then here is my altered file folder, and I love how this turned out. I always know that if it's something I want to keep for myself, that I know, you know, I'm hoping my partner will like it, but I think she will. If she likes vintage, she should like it. But again, it's one of those ones that I am so tempted to keep for myself, but I'm going to pass it on because it's important to share our art and our work with other people. And you can see on the bottom, I have some vintage lace that I've been hoarding for a long time that I decided to go ahead and use. And I used it on the front and the back. And I added the flat back pearls to it. That wasn't part of it. And then I also, to finish it off, I added this little ribbon trim that had some beads hanging off of it. You can see a couple of different layers of the paper, and again, that's Graphic 45 paper, and that was Portrait of a Lady. And I did go ahead and sew it around or onto the file folder before I glued it, and I did have to glue the sides of my file folder shut. My sewing machine can't handle going through that many layers of thicker paper. And you can see, like I said, I have like three or four layers of that paper collection. And I did choose this image as my center image. And at the top, I did create another one of my flowers. And this time I did put it on like a little hair clip. And then I also had the back side I decorated really pretty that way. When I use it as my closure on the top of the file folder, it looks pretty on the front and the back. And I do have a tutorial available on these flowers. If you are interested in that, I'll make sure I include that in my description box below so you guys can check that out if you wanted to see how I created the flower. And then, like I said, I went ahead and added the clip to it after I made it, and I also decorated the back side so it'd be nice on both sides. And I also like to add, oftentimes when I do these altered file folders, however I decide to clip it, I will put a doily or two underneath it, just as kind of a little extra. So here's a couple little extra vintage doilies for my swap partner. And then if you look at the beautiful laces and trims that I used to go around the image, I did receive, it's a big applique that I received from Ivy Ling a long time ago, and we had swapped a couple of things. And so she had gifted me some of that flower. And then also, I think one of the pieces that I also used came from Judy. When she and I were involved in a swap, she had a very similar applique that she had shared with me. So I used a little bit of that to kind of finish it off, because I had little snippets of that left. So thank you both ladies for that. And then if you look at the back side, this is what I created on the back side. I did create a little pocket. Again, the same laces and trims at the bottom. And for the pocket, I used another image from the Graphic 45 paper collection. I did layer this all up on chipboard pieces, so it's very sturdy. I added some flat back pearl. I added this beautiful little bow that I think came from Angel Dreams Crafts Kim on Etsy. I think it was an older one that was in her store, but she has similar ones now in her store, similar bling if you're looking for bling pieces. And I did cut out this piece of chipboard and then also layered Graphic 45 paper on top of it. It's a Spellbinders die. It's the lacy ovals, and I went ahead and added the flat back pearls to it. I just think it looks so elegant. And then inside of the pocket, you can see I added 2 tags, and again, images from the Graphic 45 paper collection. And these were really fun to create. I did cut out the tags, and I used, I believe it's a diamond die, tag die. And I use that for all the different layers. You can see for this cardstock layer, then there's this little darker layer here underneath. That one also is Graphic 45 paper. And I did go ahead and I sewed around it. And you can also see when I sewed it together, I added this little netting, kind of a tulle lace underneath that. I just want like that little extra texture or look to it. And on this one, I did go ahead and add some vintage trim, and this came from Gisela. She's Lavish Laces on Etsy, but she and I were swap partners, and she had gifted me a little bit of this. It's a wedding trim. It's really gorgeous. And so I did layer some of that around this tag. And then at the top, I kind of created a little messy bow with some tea-dyed seam binding. And that I went ahead and created this one exactly the same as the other one that I just shared with you guys. But on this one, instead of just using like part of a lace, I went ahead and did laces all the way around, and I pieced it together. It's some lace that I cut off of a wedding dress a long time ago, and I tea-dyed it. But I cut it up into shapes that I could make a frame out of. And so that is the other tag. And then on the inside of the pocket, I just gifted my swap partner some napkins that she can use for decoupaging. One of the aspects of the Facebook group that we're in, it is decoupaging and also like shabby chic and vintage stuff. But I figured it would be fun for her to have a couple more napkins to play with, and that was something easy that fit inside of the file folder. I am going to gift her some other things, but I didn't want to overstuff the envelope or the altered file folder in case she wanted to use it for something else. So again, I wanted to thank everybody so much for watching today. Please feel free to open up that description box below. I will have links for the flower tutorial. I'll also include a link. I've created some alter file folders in the past, so I'll have some other ones if you're interested in checking those ones out. But I also created a tutorial for an altered file folder before in the past, so I will also include that in case you're wondering or you're very new to paper crafting and you kind of want step-by-step directions. I do have a tutorial available for a very similar styled altered file folder. So again, that will be in the description box. And again, I just wanted to thank everybody so much for watching today, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, and until next time, happy crafting.